Mom's Clean Air Force. And I actually live over the border, so again, thanks for having me here tonight. I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm actually near the Shell ethane cracker plant that makes plastics. So there's definitely a connection, as we just got into a little bit, you know, this form of false recycling, where you're taking products, plastics and tires and so on that are very toxic, and claiming that you're recycling them. But you know, I'm going to get into that with my presentation, but that's not what's really happening here. I think we all know that, and it is a way for the plastic industry to justify continuing to put out these products that are harmful to our health, harmful to the environment, harmful to the climate. So back to Mom's Clean Air Force. You may not have heard of this organization. We're an advocacy organization, and we focus a lot on the health impacts of air pollution on children. So we're fighting for clean air for children, also for the climate, for our children's future. Here in Ohio, we have about 92,000 members. I know there's a good amount right here in Youngstown. So, and my background's in education. And one thing that's great about Moms is there's been a lot of work done by people, thank you, in the organization who take the studies and put them into fact sheets, and we have a lot of great fact sheets with the basic health information people need to make decisions for their communities and their family. So okay, I think we're rolling here, right? You guys can see it? Yeah. Okay. Actually, let me bring up mine too. Okay.
Sick table here.
All right. Well, what you can see here are some terms you might hear with discussions like we're having this evening. And you know what? There we go. Now you can see it. So Sobe has said a lot of different things about their plans, including what they plan to do, including that they plan to do pyrolysis or gasification of tires in Youngstown, and possibly plastics in nearby Lowville. And these processes involve melting down waste and burning it. So you can see what is there on the left. It's all being greenwashed as recycling. But what's really happening, and the truth you see on the right, it's incineration. Like I said already, it's not recycling. They're not making new tires. They're not making new plastic products. It's solid waste combustion, and the technical names for it are pyrolysis and gasification. And when you look at the word pyrolysis, if you break it apart, pyro, fire, the second half of the word means destruction. So there you go. That doesn't sound like recycling, right? Okay. And advanced recycling is the term that is most often used by industry for burning plastic. It's not advanced and it's not recycling. Advanced recycling or chemical recycling, which is another term that's used, creates harmful air pollution, toxic chemicals, and sometimes dirty fuel. Somebody wants to use tire chips and maybe plastic and e-waste to produce synthetic gas or syngas for fueling its heating and cooling operations. And you get the dirty fuel from these processes, and the way to get it cleaner is to just keep on burning it and burning it, burning off those contaminants and releasing more toxins into the air. So tire incineration equals air pollution. So burning tires can be dangerous. Releases climate warming carbon dioxide, and it can release a number of toxic substances into the air, including hazardous air pollutants, nitrogen oxides, which combined with the VOCs and can form ground level ozone or smog. VOCs are volatile organic compounds. Many of them have negative health impacts. Many of them can be cancer causing, also cause things like eye irritation, throat irritation, headaches. There's also heavy metals that would be released. We know they can have negative developmental impacts on children. There's the dioxins and particulate matter as well. And we'll take a look at those with a few of our fact sheets. But starting with that smog I mentioned, Smog is associated with a number of health concerns. Mostly it's highly irritating to the lungs, and it can trigger asthma attacks. It increases the risk of lung infections and can interfere with normal lung development. And it disproportionately affects environmental justice communities whose children are already exposed to other pollutants and are, have very high rates of asthma and are more vulnerable. And smog has also been linked to heart failure, preterm birth, and low birth weight. Oh, and I'm sorry, I think I was showing the wrong slide. I got too much going on over here. So moving on, but we have the fact sheet, like I mentioned, about smog or ozone pollution. And dioxins can be produced in the pyrolysis process, and they can cause cancer, reproductive and developmental problems, and damage to the immune system. They can also interfere with hormones and be endocrine disruptors. And dioxins are persistent organic pollutants, so they will stay in your fatty tissues, linger in your body, continuing to cause issues. Also with children, the dioxins will settle on the ground and stay there, and we know kids often are playing in the ground, they're lower to the ground, so they can be exposed more, and those dioxins can have negative impacts like stunting growth and cognitive and causing cognitive impairment. And then particle pollution, or soot. And we're talking here about the really small particles that are given off from pyrolysis and burning tires, plastics. These particles, called PM2.5, are 30 times smaller than the width of a hair. So they can really get into your lungs, get lodged in there, they can actually get into your bloodstream, and they cause health issues like asthma attacks, respiratory illness, lung cancer, impaired immune functioning, heart attacks and strokes, and metabolic disorders like diabetes as well. So when we talk about plastic incineration, like we've heard discussed as a possibility in Lowellville, you have the same host of negative impacts and from a lot of the same pollutants. Something to keep in mind with this is that it's a very inefficient process, plastic pyrolysis. There's been other companies trying to do this and failing to produce viable product. Probably around a year ago, there were 11 such facilities actually trying to operate, and that number's down to 9. There's just been a lot of issues, safety issues, and just problems with taking something like plastic, which has many, many different types of chemicals, and trying to actually, burn it down to get fuel or whatever product is they're trying to get. There hasn't been a lot of success. And then I'll just mention too that with the plastics, there's been, in all of the pyrolysis, all the chemical recycling, advanced recycling, there's been state bills, I think about 25 states, Ohio being one of them, that reclassify advanced recycling as manufacturing, so that they are exempt from some of the controls, some of the pollution controls that would otherwise apply. So more of these chemicals are able to get into our air. And with plastics, there's over 16,000 chemicals used in plastics. So, you think about burning that and what can end up in the air. It's pretty scary. Again, here's some of the health impacts. So burning the plastics, it moves the waste, and I'll mention the tires as well. Plastics, tires, whatever it is they decide to burn. It moves them from going into the landfill into the air that we breathe and into our lungs. So I want to point out, as I've mentioned, that in some ways children are more vulnerable and they'll be more negatively impacted by this. Children are, they breathe faster, they have a higher respiration rate than adults, so they inhale more air and can be exposed to more air pollution relative to their body size than adults. They also exercise more, spend more time outside, so that's all contributing to their greater intake of air. and consequently air pollution. Their lungs and brains are developing, and developing brains and lungs are more sensitive to pollution than fully formed adult lungs and brains. So again, most plastic waste incinerators are located in environmental justice communities or low-income communities, communities of color, and they're already overburdened by pollution. Further air pollution comes when you then burn the fuel, right? So they're taking tires, they're gonna make this dirty fuel and then burn it. So there's a company in, let's see, Pascagoula, and they took the pyrolysis oil, so that's one of the products. You can get the syngas, and then also there's pyrolysis oil, and they added it into their fuel, making it really carcinogenic. So they made boat fuel, they made jet fuel. The air pollution from burning the jet fuel was expected to cause cancer in 1 of every 4 people exposed over a lifetime. And the boat fuel was worse. Every person exposed over a lifetime would be expected to get cancer. So that risk level is 1 million times higher than what EPA usually would consider acceptable for new chemicals, and 6 times higher than the chances of lung cancer from a lifetime of smoking. And of course, we know this is not the right location. Not that there is a right location, but this is certainly not it. We're looking at environmental justice concerns, cumulative impact concerns. I understand there's a steel mill facility less than 2 miles from the site, and it has an EPA Title V, meaning it's a major polluter, air polluter, and they are able to release 900 tons of pollutants a year. So this would be then on top of what's already there. And there's children in the area. There's young students at the college, at the university, and you know, even into your 20s, your brain can still be developing. And then, of course, with this mixed-use community zoning, you shouldn't be having this dangerous, you know, potentially explosive or facility which could catch fire and have those issues. So I mentioned I live near the Shell cracker plant, and so this image is showing you the purple air monitors in the area, and this is all the way from near the cracker plant down through Pittsburgh. So you see a lot there, but we have put a lot more in near the cracker plant because that's been really, really useful for us to be able to hold them accountable with the pollutants they're giving off. So when you're looking at possibly being faced with a petrochemical facility operating in your community, you want to have that baseline understanding too of, you know, what was their quality before they came in and how are they impacting our air. So, you know, with Shell, they have been operating for not quite 2 years, and they've already had over 30 notices of violation. And so, you know, it's always a pay to pollute situation. So it's really important to be able to watch what's going on. It shouldn't be the community members' responsibilities, but we have been able to hold them a bit more accountable to, you know, communicate with each other. Look what's going on with the air. We better alert the media. We better call the Pennsylvania DEP, call the Shell hotline, do all those things so that it's a little harder for them to get away with it. But it also goes to show how important it is to, you know, prevent this sort of facility from going in the first place. So that's what I hope we do. And with that, I will just put up my information here. Oh, and also there's another fact sheet on chemical recycling, which is on the back table. If you want any other fact sheets, I have a lot with me, and please come see me.
Any questions for Rachel?
Mary, what do you belong to?
Oh, I'm sorry?
What do you belong to, Mary?
Mary?
Oh, BC Mac,
Eyes on Shell.
Eyes on Shell, yeah.
Right.
I participate in the monthly meetings.
Oh,
Zoom meetings.
fantastic. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
They're very well organized, Beaver County people, just I mean, you know, you hear Zoom meeting, that doesn't sound very exciting, but the level of interest from the residents and all the well-educated professionals that deal with these kinds of things at stake, it's just really a good meeting, and hopefully you're making progress.
Yeah, we have these monthly meetings where like all the watchdogs, it's through BC MAC for County Marcellus Awareness Community. We have educational speakers and we just check in, so that's another way that we keep tabs on what's going on to hold Shell accountable. And we've been fortunate to have some people who are, I'd say, experts on air monitors, helping us with that process of getting those air monitors out.